We live, baby. You know what it is. It's a Thursday night. Ain't no football going on, but you know what? We got a lot of news. We got Bill.
Been going on.
Heat.
Been going on.
We got Saban.
Oh, are we talking Saban tonight?
Hey, we talking
I don't
everybody.
think we should.
No, you're not talking everybody.
We are.
You know?
We are. I'm not a college guy, but we gonna talk
Hey,
Saban.
when he the best, you got to talk about
We
it.
talk
I
Saban.
think Saban made the damn
What do you mean?
the title of the episode.
He did. I put him in our title so that people knew we would be talking about Saban.
What?
Chill.
We talking about it.
Oh.
Talk about Saban.
I'm going rogue. That's
He is a good host.
No, he for himself.
Produce a sports show.
He's going right for himself because he don't even care about the college.
It's important in news.
That's a first.
I'm just trying to think like a producer.
That is
We have to convince him
like that.
to talk about the national championship. Yeah.
Convince me. He said if that's what you want to do, that's fine.
Yeah.
I just won't have much to bring to the table.
Anything with the wall.
He didn't even want to put the show. Didn't even want to put the game on. Yeah.
Right, not too much.
Too much.
Reveal everything.
Into another edition of Outspoken, where of course we've had a lot of breaking news since Monday to today.
Adjective
But
describe
of course, please, before we get started, please like, subscribe, share
Like,
with everybody.
subscribe.
Everything we got going on.
Let everybody know.
Outspoken,
please.
say what you mean what you say. As always, I'm Cordell.
Marcus.
Steve Rock.
Deuce.
Chanel.
Our special guest, as promised, I told you guys on Monday she'd be back, and here she is.
Here she is.
Love this for us as her Steelers are in the playoffs. Last time we
That's
talked.
half of the show. No, I'm just kidding.
I know you was
Hold on now.
So,
technically on what you
Right, right.
you had them privileges.
season.
All right.
Yeah.
You know
so
what you're doing.
but before we get into Wildcard Weekend or Super Wildcard Weekend, let's start off with the news that has been going on. Before I get into the news of today, I want to talk about the news of yesterday. I'll start there first. Pete Carroll no longer with the Seahawks, or I shouldn't say as a head coach position.
Shockingly.
Yes, surprise. I wasn't expecting it. What were your guys' take on
Neither
it?
did the Seahawks. They were
Seahawks wanted him out as a head coach. This is what
They wanted him out as a head coach.
coach. This is what was being
Did the
reported
players
by
in
It sounded like Pete Carroll
Did the
wanted
players
to
in the
stay.
Did the players in the locker room know of that, or I'm pretty sure that was.
But
listen to the sound. So you tell us what happened in the press conference,
Okay.
Marcus, and tell the audience what happened in the press
hey
conference.
man, essentially it all went down and hey, there was like Pete wanted to go into a different direction. He didn't want to do that, but at the end of the day they met into a middle ground and hey,
Well,
Pete had his time in Seattle, but it's all done now. He's in this advisory role until he finds a new
whatever that
position
means. Right.
someplace else.
Right.
He still said that he's lively, he's rocking, he's kicking, he's ready to coach.
We're saying that he was
But-
going passes a training camp last year, dropping
You know,
down.
hey, he a diamond. He a scout team quarterback.
Something like that. There wasn't a lot of heat on the pass, but
Hey,
he was running around.
at the end of the day, it was completed.
And he's
But
70.
Either
71.
way, he said that
Not young.
he doesn't have. He knows that he's at an age where a lot of people don't get the opportunities you have to coach in the NFL at that age. So he gets the business side of it, and that's why they were able to mutually part ways per se. And at the end of the day, they got to go in a different direction, and we'll see how it goes with GM John Snyder leading the way.
What's a different direction though?
Younger.
I think younger. I think that's
For what
That's what it's
though?
up
Like
as a head coach. Like,
I know,
it's
but
just-
I'm just playing devil's advocate. So like younger, you want a younger coach so you can relate more to players. You want a
Probably
younger
so.
coach
So that was a thing that he did talk about, and he said that he thanked the Bobby Wagners and Genos and all like that for helping him try to relate better with the younger players. But I think that was kind of a thing where it's like, okay, the younger guys just aren't getting it with what he said,
Right.
And I don't think that was like a really big issue because they were still 9-8.
right. I was gonna say they.
So, and then last year they were literally in the playoffs.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't think it was a big discrepancy, but I just think that the Seahawks were at a point where things, to them, it went stale.
Yeah.
And they just wanted some new energy into the
I'm definitely
in the locker room.
Admire what he's done in Seattle. He's only had one losing season since 2012.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's made the playoffs several times, of course, Super Bowl champion, back-to-back Super Bowl participant as well. Spearheaded what was arguably one of the better defenses we've seen in NFL history with the Legion of Boom. And yeah, he made his mark in Seattle, and I wish him the best. I'm curious to know, however, this advisory role.
Well,
I think it's just a placeholder until he finds another spot.
Like but how much advising is he going to be doing?
Not much.
it's weird because when you think about Pete Carroll as this charismatic coach who can connect and relate to his players, like I feel like being in an advisory role, he is going to be in a spot where he's like the liaison between maybe front office management and the players, maybe someone who can be like a softer way of getting things across, maybe making sure the message is delivered properly,
Right.
tone was messed up or something.
Right.
I saw a tweet that had a clip of him interacting with Earl Thomas early in his career. I think it was Earl Thomas' rookie year, week 3, and talking about Earl made a mistake on a call for that Earl should have only done if the play was smashed. Just hooks and low posts, right? He didn't drop deep enough. Pete Carroll broke that down to him, and then Earl went on and had 2 interceptions and had the interception that ended the game. So seeing how patient he was in communicating with his players, and even how he made sure that Earl understood that Pete was there for him, and he wanted Earl to win and make sure he did his job. He didn't take him out, he didn't punish him like that. Seeing how he reacted in a moment where Earl could have been not berated, but checked a little bit.
Yeah.
The way that he got his message across and seeing how Earl responded was something that was encouraging. So I feel like he would be really good in that type of role, making sure that everybody on the same page.
Cool. So is it a thing of like he's just stepping down, or he's just being relieved of his head coaching responsibilities, and now he still wants to be a head coach somewhere, or is it that he's going to like look into being more?
He's going to be more like Bruce Arians with how he left.
He's staying with
He
Seattle.
stayed with
It's not like he's open to
no. He's still open to being a head coach somewhere else. But if the opportunity doesn't arise, then he will be in the advisor role with the Seahawks. So it's one of those things where it's like he still wants to be a coach, but he knows that if the opportunity doesn't come, he knows where he'll be, which is at the advisor role. But the advisor role is kind of just like a placeholder until he finds
figures out
a spot for him as a coach.
I think for me, I don't think Pete Carroll gets as much love as he should, just because Seattle I feel like they fly under the radar a lot. Like they're never amazing, but they're never bad. So I feel like just how much Seattle has been through. I know that this is only the second season without Russell Wilson, but just having Geno Smith come in there and kind of like manage the game. Some games he did win, but like you never heard any crazy thing in the locker room. Like DK Metcalf is a bona fide number 1, and you've never heard any crazy like I'm not getting the ball or like I'm just so frustrated. Like you've never heard any mess come out of Seattle, even when Russell Wilson left. Like nothing crazy has come out of Seattle, and they're
team frustration too. Though we haven't seen.
Marshawn was something.
Marshawn
and Marshawn, they lost a game. Like that's different. Like I feel like that's a different. I'm just different. To lose, like to have he has a good roster. Like that roster is very good. But like I just never hear like in Geno Smith, he has his good days and he has his bad days, but you never see. I don't know. You just never hear any bad stuff about Seattle as far as like Tyler Lockett being frustrated with the quarterback play or DK Metcalf being frustrated with the quarterback play. Kenneth Walker, I just feel like he's been able to like keep it going. Like he's been able to keep steady. Right, whether or not they're good or bad, and they're in a pretty like competitive division as well. So I just feel like, and they're always they're always contending. Like they're always either not making the playoffs because like another team beat this team, but they're never super bad.
Yeah.
And I just feel like that's just something that a lot of head coaches go through, and you see the organization like fail miserably when things like that happen. So that's all.
I feel like the only two times that we've been on Pete Carroll was for his timing of leaving USC, which he knew. Like he knew exactly how he was
He knew
maneuvering.
what time it was.
And how he handled the play that Malcolm Butler got the interception on in the Super Bowl. That's really
Which I don't blame him for that play at all. I know that's not a popular opinion, but I've seen plenty of quarterbacks with the ball in their hands to make the play of the game, and Russ just didn't do it. And it was a fine play by Malcolm Butler. I understand. I understand that you have Marshawn Lynch, but when people go back and they look statistically, they've had more success throwing from that distance than they did running from that distance that season.
You gotta look at that game.
Think about their tendencies. This is what they've done all year. They didn't act out of character. They've done that all year. So you would expect in the Super Bowl
That run
they
game
were
was
going to do that.
That run game was not a
that
live
drive.
It wasn't.
Yeah, Marshawn would have won
that
MVP.
That drive, he marched them down the field. It wasn't Russ. It was Marshawn.
Marshawn
Why wouldn't you stick to the person that literally just drove you down?
Marshawn would have won MVP if it wasn't.
Colts are not in the playoffs because they did the exact same thing. Like Jonathan Taylor, he knocked them down the field and then
they tried to throw
they took him out.
It's like
Marshawn would have won MVP if they won that
game. Yeah.
And they knew that too.
Yeah.
It's more he didn't make a bad call. It felt like there was a better call. It was an easier call.
It was a better call. Yes.
He's super smart if it works.
Yes.
It's super smart though. He was trying to like
it's too smart.
Trying to get cute at the one.
It's like when you know the simple play and you just overthinking and you're like, oh well, they're not gonna think about this, so we're just gonna do that.
Let's line them up in bunch formation.
Blowing up in your face, and then you're like,
and throw it to Ricardo Lockett. Like, they
so
were not
many
expecting that.
Coaches can pull that off, like to where they're executing on that level and out thinking and trying to plan and plot how people finna react to what they're gonna do. Only a few coaches can do that.
Right.
That's the issue. Even not to bring up the Commanders, but looking at how Ron Rivera drafted over the last couple years, the simple pick was right there, but he thought that he was trade left Hamilton on the board.
How do we name these Commanders every episode?
My brain. That's how my brain works. That's all. I was trying to make
that.
Well, hey, he's gone.
I understand. It's just I'm still grieving.
I'm going to transition now away from that and into more relevancy. Speaking of people who are gone, speaking of transitions, the two big names that happened today, this morning.
Oh, damn. We ain't even talked about Nick and Bill.
Nick and Bill. Nick Saban, Bill Belichick, both end of an era on both sides.
Yeah.
One is retiring. One is going to be a coach again somewhere else. And Bill and I don't know. The way that I watched the coverage today, since I had the day off and I just watched sports coverage, it felt like as if Bill was the one who was retiring. Because
retired or died.
It was. I'm like, he's still coaching, guys. He's still going to be a coach. And it was like, nope, we got Randy Moss coming off the boat with a bass in his hand, talking about how great he is.
Even Kraft and Bill getting emotional, it felt like it was like, damn.
We know he wants to coach, but do we truly know if teams are going to be lining up for his services?
There should be teams, and I don't know if it's going to be a line. It should be 2 or 3. 2 or 3?
But is it something that he feels like he can win with?
Right.
It feels like the Chargers and the Falcons.
If it's 2 or 3 teams that are probably going to be drafting in the top 10 again next year,
like, does he really?
Is he still going to be coaching? That's the thing. I can't say that for certain.
How much do y'all think Bill Belichick cares about getting the all-time wins record?
That's the one
if
question.
If he had it, I feel like he wouldn't be trying.
That's the one right. That's the one thing that I've been pondering. Like he obviously wants to continue to coach. But my question is, what's the motive of coaching now? Are you wanting to coach so you can win another ring, or are you wanting to coach just so you can win, so you can get the all-time wins record and say, I've done what I need to do? That's the thing. And that's what a lot of teams need to kind of sort of put into play as well, because when you make a hire of Bill Belichick, you're not doing this long term. You need to understand that in probably about 4 or 5 years, you're gonna be looking for another coach again, because he's 71. He ain't gonna be coaching until he's 80. I don't think I'm sure of. So
I don't know. It's one of the things where if he could, he probably would, but I feel like everybody is. I won't say his body gonna shut him down, but he gonna understand that he can't handle the rigor of
Father
an
time is still
NFL
defeated.
season. You know what I'm saying? So just a matter of when he feels like he can hang it up. But I feel like it's just Chargers Falcons. Those are the options. Everybody else has quarterback issues, and the Falcons have an opportunity to climb in the draft and trade up and go get a quarterback, and the Chargers have Justin Herbert.
I think that Seattle's. I mean, I think Seattle. I don't know. I feel like Seattle's one of the most attractive places to go.
But why
But
would
it-
you get rid of?
But
I'm
Seattle,
gonna say
yeah.
go a different direction just to hire another 71-year-old. You move
Is
on.
age? Are we just sexist? All 71-year-olds the same?
They said that's a part. They want to get younger. They don't want to transition from one 71-year-old to another.
It just doesn't make sense, especially when Pete Carroll's had more success than Bill recently.
Yeah.
It would just be
If the reasoning was a disconnect in the locker room, you're gonna bring in another 71-year-old who's not familiar with that locker room
and you already know
Like,
when
it's
it
just-
comes to locker rooms, like he's not the most friendly guy
at all.
in terms of like getting guys on board to
Correct.
to do certain things.
I don't even know. I don't think friendly is the right word. I feel like he has been described as when he's in a managerial role, he likes to keep the levels of how things are conducted. Like he's not going to be all chummy with you and act like they're friends when he's your boss. Like he's been one who's described as made that really clear. Like the Patriot way and things of that nature. But even like to the friendly and the caring part, Damian Woody was talking today on First Take about a time where he needed to lose weight. He had weight issues, and Bill Belichick put him in a program at Duke. And Bill Belichick invested in Dame, put his own money into the program, went and checked on him down in North Carolina, and made sure that he was straight. So it like hearing that anecdote was something when we think about Bill Belichick and how stoic he is and how short his answers are and things of that nature, like hearing that,
We're on to Cincinnati.
hearing the depth of his character and what he was willing to do to not only benefit his team and understand that Damian Woody was essential to protecting Drew Bledsoe and then Tom Brady, but also just the man and making sure that Damian had the routine and the resolve to handle his business as a man. Like I feel like that added a different color to who Bill Belichick is as a character.
Not for me. I heard it. It was sweet. It was nice.
So
As if he was dead or retired. But I sat here and I was like,
Yeah.
for every one person that you can say he made a difference for, I guarantee there are 5 other people he did not develop.
And that's fine. He can't. I mean,
No. It is. So that's why it hasn't changed my thought process on the fact that he can't really develop offensive talent. He can develop defensive guys like crazy to me, but I don't think he can develop anybody that much when it comes to the offensive side of the ball.
well, I think more of anything that story is more. And then when you ask about where he's gonna go next and if he cares about breaking that record, like it's more to say like he's just a winner. Like that's all. He's just literally whatever it takes to win. He's literally just a winner, and he knows that he's probably not going to break that record staying in New England. And then also it's like we watch him develop. I mean, we hear all these former athletes talk about how great he is. Like he can't be a loser and like make all these like former players winners. Like he's a winner. Like that's just in him. So I think that number one, like obviously he wants to break that record, and I think he wants to win as well. He wants to go somewhere where he can win within the next 2 or 3 tops years. And you talked about the Falcons. Like I don't think that like it looks good, and it looks like okay, they're just one quarterback away, but like after seeing what he has done the past 2 years, I do not feel that I am not
Mac Jones.
in Bill Belichick, the GM. The Bill Belichick, the coach, is awesome. And that's why for me, he needs to go with the place that needs a coach and that has a quarterback, the Chargers. And he needs to go and he needs to hang out with Justin Herbert. He has pieces on defense that he can work with.
He might try and sell him on Josh McDaniels as OC.
And people are talking how great Bill Belichick is, and he's great, and he wins, and he's the greatest of all time as far as head coaches. But like when Tom Brady left, that's when winning left New England.
So my question is this: are the Chargers good enough right now for him to just simply step in and they're a playoff team?
I think that things have to move.
Right.
And he has a few pieces around him. I feel like for me, that's all he needs because in New England, he had none of that.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think they're.
And I think with that, I think he should just go ahead and get the band back together. Go ahead and call up McDaniels, be like, "Hey, I'm going over here." Vrabel, "Hey, Brody, let's all just come back together one time for the one time."
That'd be crazy.
I mean, John,
Like,
He can try to go to the Commanders. The Commanders that does not have a quarterback would be crazy to bring him in for me.
I wouldn't.
Mhm.
I wouldn't.
Washington, please
say
do
that.
not go get Bill
I
Belichick.
wouldn't say that because of the fact that
No interview, no nothing.
it depends on what they want from him. If it's a team that just wants him to come in and manage the team and there's a GM already in place, then it doesn't matter because that GM's making a call as far as who they want.
but I need you to develop the talent.
He doesn't have to develop the talent. No, his offensive coordinator, his quarterbacks coach, he doesn't have to develop. He has to make the right. He has to make the right hires.
So you need Josh
because so
you need McDaniel.
even if he's in with the Chargers, he's still going to have to find the right guy to play call, right?
The people who you're bringing into the building. When we look at who the Patriots have drafted, how many Pro Bowlers have they drafted?
So what quarterback has Bill O'Brien?
So are you saying as a head coach, if you have the personnel, not having Bill Belichick personnel, he's coach them?
But you had issues
with the QB coach and offensive
for Bryce Young at Alabama. That's at Alabama.
That's different.
At the NFL level.
Yeah.
We had questions. We had questions on both levels. We had questions about him as a play caller. So you think getting the band back together with Justin Herbert is still going to make things right?
He said Josh McDaniels and
where Josh McDaniels has developed too at quarterback.
He did okay with Mac Jones.
Mac Jones wasn't awful.
No, Mac Jones not awful enough to where Dan Orlovsky was saying he was going to win a Super Bowl.
Josh McDaniels also thought highly of Tim Tebow in drafting the first round.
So why would he go anywhere that doesn't have a?
Because I think we look at situations and we look at them and say this head coach has to develop this quarterback. And that's not always the case.
Developing.
No, but I'm saying, that's not always the case at every single stop. Mike Tomlin has developed what quarterback? But it doesn't take away from him as a head coach because you make the correct hires. It's who you are and who you have under you. If you have the correct hires under you, those guys will be developing, doing more of the hands-on molding of the quarterback, not the head coach himself.
Coaches,
right?
Talking about like
Sean McDermott didn't develop Josh Allen. Exactly.
But you saw the disservice that he did to Mac.
No, he didn't. But I think
just head coach.
But I think that's because of again, I'm using your coach as an example. It wasn't McDermott that developed Allen. It was the fact that
Patricia and Joe Judge.
Right. And that's why
I don't trust him.
Yeah.
Unless you're telling me you're going to get the band back together. If you going out here and wilding like you did with Mac Jones, like you're the reason Mac Jones shouldn't be this bad. I didn't think he was going to be an elite quarterback, but I didn't think he would be this. So that's on you not getting him the proper help that he needed. So I'm saying, do I want you as my head coach with Bryce Young? Or do I trust you as my head coach to get the people he needs?
I didn't want to get
if you could go to a team that doesn't have a quarterback, my question would be, how is he putting that staff together to help the deficiency on the offensive side of the ball?
No, but that's my thing. I'm saying that I wouldn't, if I'm him or if I'm the Falcons or the Commanders, they don't really have the to develop the quarterback. It's who you bring in, right? We've watched him bring in people.
But if he goes to the Chargers and bring in Josh McDaniels, and we question Josh McDaniels as a play caller,
Right now.
I think that Josh McDaniel is a great OC.
Thank you.
Personally.
okay, so we say the same thing about Bill O'Brien. Do you trust? Would you guys trust?
Bill O'Brien is a better
We should pick up Bill Belichick.
coach.
Who do you think was the best?
I don't know where he should go, but my thing is, it all depends. I don't think wherever he goes, it still doesn't matter because we need to see what staff he puts together. Even with the talent that the Chargers have, if he makes Bill O'Brien his OC, I'm not 100% confident in him.
No, my thing is like if he has at least a really good quarterback, then that negates half of the battle. Not saying that makes it 100%.
When it comes to the Chargers, how much does that help them? They had the talent. But the fact that they've had Kellen Moore, the fact that they've had questionable other guys at OC,
Right.
It didn't cover up the deficiencies. They're still a team that missed the playoffs because they didn't have the right guys.
Didn't you have the Chargers in the playoffs this year?
I did, but then
Actually, like, why did you think so?
because me personally, I thought Brandon Staley was going to evolve as a coach at some point. I thought he had some rough patches, but I still had a little bit of confidence coming into the season. But it wasn't the case.
Okay,
and that's understandable.
So do you think that Bill Belichick, if you think he's a better coach than Staley,
Right?
can he do at least a little bit of a better job than what he did?
What do you mean?
Because he was at least able to get them to the playoffs last year.
Right.
So I'm like,
Barely.
could Bill Belichick be able to do that, especially if he gets the defense to be better than what they have?
It depends on what he had, because we all thought that the Bills' offense was going to be okay with Ken Dorsey, but we saw what happened, and having the talent there didn't cover that up. The game is going to allow that deficiency to show at some point.
Yeah, but I guess my only thing with it is with the Chargers, a lot of the stuff that we saw that failed was head coaching decisions in crucial moments of the game.
Right.
Which obviously Bill won't make those same mistakes. So that he should at least add a couple wins just off of that alone. But I mean, I don't know. We'll see how it all turns out. But I do want to flip it to Nick Saban because I promised him we was going to talk about Saban. So I want to talk about Saban. And for me, as somebody on the outside of the college world looking in, the question that was posed in my head as soon as I saw this happen was, is that the end of Alabama?
No.
Or do you guys think that it's still going to be the prestigious school for football that people, top talent, want to go to?
It's still going to be a program that's going to have a top 10 recruiting class. They may not have a top 3. They're guaranteed a top 3 class every year with Nick Saban.
That depends on the coach.
Well, yeah, that's what. Well, I in all likelihood, I trust that they're going to bring in. They're not going to bring in just Joe Schmo.
They can't.
They're going to bring in somebody of name
But
that has some type of
why?
prestige.
So you're saying, because to me, normally when you have somebody like that, why wouldn't you promote from within?
There's nobody on that staff that's worthy enough to promote.
Even that staff has had so much turnover recently.
Yeah.
Just because guys are getting head coaching jobs everywhere, like his coaching tree
it's a revolving door.
It's insane.
They come in, they stay there.
From just being in his coaching tree is probably the best we've ever seen.
His guys come in, they stay for 2 years, and then they're going elsewhere.
Yeah.
Like there's no continuity.
So his DC also retired. The offensive coordinator just got there this season.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it's a bunch of guys that haven't been there for the long haul that are there right now. So they can't hire within because that person they haven't been there long enough. They don't know what it was like to build that. So at this point, it's got to be an outside hire that could be somebody that's been there before.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the likelihood of it being like a big splash is low. And the only reason why I say that is because
what options?
I think that the people that you want to have they're already in places with not only a large buyout, but they're in places that they would be comfortable in. And in order to be like, okay, well now you got to take on this giant in Alabama and try and
Isn't that what any
I
coach
don't
would
think
want?
Lane Kiffin is looking at Ole Miss and saying, "Hey, I'm content here." It's Ole Miss to compare
But
to
that's the thing.
Alabama.
I don't think Lane Kiffin wants to be in Nick Saban's shadow like that.
Then
What?
Because
emerge.
he left already. He left the first time
Mhm.
because he was like,
Because he wanted
I wanted
another
to-
head coaching job.
yeah, and he wants to do his own thing. And then you
You
always
think
see
he gonna
him.
stay at Ole Miss forever?
He won't go to Alabama.
Where he gonna go then?
Whatever other job
This
is available.
is
But
we understand who he is. He's big fish hunting. He's not gonna
yeah,
go to any of
I
a small
don't.
school.
I don't
In
know.
in terms of Alabama, though, talking about your question, and if Alabama's whatever is done.
Prestige.
They will not.
Oh, absolutely, it's done.
Absolutely.
It's
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
It was done because of the way it's built
done.
right now, how NIL works,
It's
the
done.
power that the players have to maneuver. It's going to depend. It's not about the program anymore.
I agree.
It's about your brand, your personal brand, and you need a coach that will get you to feel like your brand matters and sell your brand, which is what the issue is with Dabo because he was against NIL and pushing back on trends that were happening in college football, which is kind of why he's in the position that he is right now with Clemson.
It is. There's no kind of. It
You-
is. That's why he's.
You need a coach that can recruit and get players to feel as though they're special. Not only that they can get to the league, which is what Nick Saban would do, but that their own brand, like they care about them getting paid, them being represented well
If
at this point. in time.
if I'm Alabama, I'm giving Dabo whatever he wants.
I don't think that makes it any different.
I don't know.
Hold on.
I don't
Yeah,
think
but
he's a
that
great
was
choice.
I don't think that I think that Alabama as we knew it, as far as that, like your initial question, that is done. Like it is not because I think it was already trending in that direction anyway.
Because of what Nick Saban's peak was.
Right, because it was they already met it, and then now you have the college football playoffs changing. So like everything about college football is going to be different now.
And it's gonna
Now, like
expand.
Eric said, you have the NIL. You have we were all Colorado fans because of what? Because of Deion
Don't say
Sanders
this.
and just what Colorado was doing. I don't see Alabama. Doesn't matter who they bring in. I don't see them reaching that peak of Nick Saban ever again.
No. But I think they.
And I don't
I
think
think
players
they.
want to go there.
I think they fall just one tier below. I think they're still going to be good. They're still going to be a team that's going to win 9 or 10 games every year. And like I said,
But
when it
there are
comes,
no more playoffs.
no, the playoff expanded to 12
just
teams
bigger.
now, so they can. They're still going to have an opportunity. Yeah,
Yeah.
because you don't watch college sports at all.
Yeah.
So it's just
it's changing
like I said when it comes
next
to
year.
recruiting. When it comes to recruiting,
News drop
last year, when it comes to
this year about how they need to expand.
Because they're now
It was-
because they just want it to be now.
This year, all I've heard about is
be patient.
But it's next year.
But I think in terms of recruiting, I think they may take a step back, but I don't think it's going to be a large step back. Like I said, I think every year with Nick Saban, they're guaranteed to be top 3 every year.
To make it a thing.
Look, this was
I believe so.
Marlon Humphrey, who he hasn't been, with Alabama for a while, cornerback for the Ravens, and he posted yesterday when Nick Saban retired that I'd be in the transfer portal as soon as I heard he retired.
That's him, though.
But
That's him.
Made it to
they had one decommitment.
That one,
And then,
just one,
just one. But
right?
But they have multiple people that could go into the portal because the portal's been closed. But because he retired, they have a 30-day period to where anybody on Alabama's roster can go into the transfer.
if I'm a player, I'm
so
sign me up.
I think that 30-day period, if they don't have a head coach where people feel good about, you're definitely
they got 30 days.
They got
The thing is, the funny thing
Like,
is, you haven't. I know it's only been a day, but you haven't seen an overload of players that are running towards the portal right now. I think the players are like, let's just see.
You wait and see.
Let's just see who they hire.
And so you wait.
They got 30 days.
Because Alabama Reports are saying that they're trying to get a coach within the next 7
within the
days.
next within a week.
So if I'm
30 days. So as a player,
Not only because of you're trying to say we're going to Alabama, but if whatever school you're at, it's like where you going?
landscape.
Where you going?
Say the world's
But
not
it's
stopping
not just Alabama. Like it's like, all right, I wanted to go. There probably was some kids like that were playing for Oregon, and they were like, okay, I'm gonna wait.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna
See what Dan Lanning gonna do.
Yeah.
I'll have to go to the gym. So I think it's just both sides in general.
Well, yeah, because whoever they get, then the players that are at that school will have 30 days. So it's going to be a trickle down effect for sure on whatever happens in this situation, whoever leaves.
So you guys don't think no big name coaches want to go?
Like for me, Dan Lanning already said that he wasn't going to go.
I mean,
Kirby
he's a
Smart's
former
not
alum,
leaving.
so that's
Steve
the first one that came
Sarkisian's
to
not
mind.
leaving. Like Kalen DeBoer from Washington, that was just the national championship. He's not leaving.
He already stated he's not leaving.
I think he has too big of a buyout.
Who?
Kalen DeBoer from Washington.
Coach. His buyout's like $15 million. I don't know if he's gonna leave. Like I just don't see it right now. Like, and then Dabo, like I just don't think Dabo's a good option.
It's not a good fit.
I didn't realize.
I've always felt Dabo will only leave Clemson for.
As far as the name,
I've always
good,
but the fit for Alabama, I just don't.
I've always felt he will only leave Clemson for one school, and that's his alma mater.
We talked about it earlier. He said that he thinks that Dabo would change if he went to Alabama.
He would have to. It's a different recruiting ground in the SEC than it is the ACC. He would have to. Now you're rubbing elbows with Kirby Smart.
But that's
so you got to change the style.
And Texas and Oklahoma are added to that.
Correct, but now recruiting in the ACC is completely different than recruiting in the SEC.
Think about it like this.
There's no Kirby Smart that's coming in that same living room in the ACC.
Yes.
No, this is.
He's still battling. He's still battling guys that Kirby Smart is also.
No, but what I'm saying is that you don't have to contend with that in the ACC.
Yes. Yes. Right. So you don't have to contend with that in the ACC. So if let's just say he doesn't change, right, and they still have a top 10 class, but it end up because you have to face tougher competition in the SEC, he doesn't do well. Now all of a sudden Alabama's at the 4-loss, 5-loss.
I can't see that. As long as they stay within relative top 10 range, I can't see them as a 4-loss.
It depends on the coach.
What players are going to stay for Dabo because they know how he's been at Clemson? Like they might not want to stay for that sort of culture.
So who would they stay for?
So
they won't stay for anybody. So hypothetically, if Sark comes, they won't stay for Sark.
They won't stay for Sark.
So they will stay for Sark, but not. Okay.
And Dabo,
Dabo has a different style.
His last couple years has been the quarterback that's been the issue. His defenses have been cool.
Right.
Yeah, his defense.
He hasn't been able to put up points. DJ Uyunglele didn't put up points. They didn't put up points.
All these are 5-star guys.
He was at Oregon State.
They're 5-star.
Florida State now.
Okay.
Yeah. 5-star quarterbacks, and yet what you just said, the quarterbacks just haven't been doing good.
I just feel when you're a head coach at the college football level, with when it comes to recruiting, you have to have the ability to adapt. And I think if he transitions from the ACC to the SEC, I'm assuming he has enough. There's enough to say I need to change my style of recruiting because I'm recruiting with Kirby Smart now. I'm recruiting with Lane Kiffin.
See, he's got opportunity to change this whole time
because
Dabo has been rejecting any sort of new trend, any sort of new way that college football has operated. Dabo has not been a fan of it. Tried to adapt
to an extent, because even the years that he hasn't been able to change, he's still been number one in this conference in recruiting.
Crazy.
I just been weak.
He hasn't. So like him and I were saying, the conversation that we had, I think what caught up to Dabo wasn't necessarily his overall recruiting. It was the fact that a lot of his classes were small. He's having top 10 classes, but these are 18 20-player classes. Alabama's pulling in 30. Georgia's pulling in 32. I think attrition caught up to them over the years. And I think that's what you're seeing now. The fact that you're having these very prestigious, like these are top tier elite classes where there's only 17 players in the class. There's only 18 players in the class.
Get good players, and for him to be on this other level, he's going to have to go to Alabama where Nick Saban was, and
I just think it's just a matter of if you were a head coach and you going into a conference like, because I think he wants that challenge. That's a different challenge because it's Alabama. He doesn't have to be. I don't want him
to do.
And well, every coach is going to think that then. So no.
Nemesis where he was and do
because he's from Alabama. It's just like Harbaugh going back to college. I felt Harbaugh would never go back to college unless it's only for one job, and it was Michigan. He landed that job. He wanted that job. He's from there. Now he was able to establish his own self as a coach at his alma mater. But it's the same thing
Dabo wants to accomplish in Alabama. It's already been done. So there's nothing that he's fixing.
No, Sweeney being a national champion coach at his alma mater. That's
corny. That's corny.
It's corny, but it's fuel.
Big picture, Alabama has dropped to amongst us all. That's where we at. That regardless of who that coach going to be, they are this dominant force who everybody fears across the land. Alabama is with everybody. That's the way. Regardless of who their coach is.
Kirby was getting paid as much as a lot of FBS coaches as a DC at Alabama, but he only left for what reason? Because Georgia came calling. His alma mater. It's a different style when your alma mater.
It's not gonna matter. It's not gonna matter.
Competing with somebody, and then now you're going to go to the place that they went to, especially when you're already at a program that you built, and you built it in his image. You built it how he wanted. But you know, I think with Kirby, it's like you go to Georgia because you've never been a head coach.
Cordell wants this conversation.
He would have stayed. I think he would have. If Georgia didn't come calling, I think he would have stayed at DC at Alabama.
Alabama is one of his. That's the takeaway.
This was a head coaching podcast. As far as I was, today is just head coaching podcast,
and that's crazy. We selling people who are trained to be a certain way and not give us much. These aren't interesting humans necessarily. It's tough.
Pete's interesting. The other two, not so much.
But even just as an entity, when you think about Seattle, you don't think about Pete Carroll necessarily. If you're the average fan, you cheer for players. You don't cheer for coaches, unless they're a black coach. Like I know black people who look for black coaches, but that's about the extent of that.
Speaking of black coaches, it's just not gotten an interview, of course. Here, I'm a little disturbed about that.
Well, it does have a loss.
That's yeah.
No,
was
it not? You know, I'm not even gonna get into it. It's not. Let's get into it. Wild card.
Right. Super wild card.
Super. Look, wherever you guys want to start.
Today, my podcast.
Where y'all want to start at this point? Is there a specific game y'all want to start?
No, we're gonna say that for Monday.
That's Monday. Texans Browns. Okay.
Texans Browns.
Let's do it.
Suck it.
Issues with this one, like trying to figure out what this game is gonna
give us.
Like, just because it's just Cleveland is such a good defense. Like I get it, and on paper they should beat the Texans, but it's just something that I just don't.
It's hard to nail because the one time they did play, CJ wasn't there, so it's hard to really determine
Right, it's just I think that, and then just the numbers. Okay, we get it. Number one defense versus a rookie, and all that.
0-4.
There's so much against the Texans, but I just feel that I don't know. And then you have the Joe Flacco. He has so much experience in the playoff. CJ Stroud has no experience in the playoff.
Houston will give him a game.
Too, but it's just this one has been the hardest for me to kind of figure out just because I just don't know.
The Browns have been a middle of the pack scoring defense. are productive as a defense, but in terms of putting up points on them, we've seen teams put up points on them.
Right.
We've seen the Colts put up points on them. Like it's not as though, and CJ Stroud is one who doesn't turn the ball over either. So we're gonna see a strength on strength.
I'm not
Stroud
gonna
doesn't
say
turn
that.
the ball over.
I'm not gonna say that.
He does.
When it rains, it pours for CJ Stroud. I don't know what it is.
No,
He
had one game.
no, he had multiple games. I could have sworn
No,
he
no,
had
no.
multiple picks.
He only
He just won.
We forgot how he started off the season.
No, I know how he started, and then
That
when you
game
see
for multiple.
yeah,
Not in the show.
Okay, and then he had 2 other games where he had 2 picks. That's
Right.
it.
No, it wasn't even that.
Yes, he did. He's only had
So he had one with 3 interceptions.
and 2 with 1.
He had 2 with 1.
okay,
Oh, no, it sounded like you used to have him had multiple interceptions.
okay.
I got you.
I digress.
I got you.
I digress.
I got you.
So really, it's just about: do you think that the Browns defense, the number 1 defense in the league, is good enough to make a rookie have turn the ball over? Now you know that Ward apparently is dealing with a little bit of nagging injury.
Yep.
Don't know if he's gonna play in the game. So
Delpit is out.
that's one thing, but obviously you still have to figure out how to deal with Myles Garrett. So
Yeah, boy. 95 still out there.
exactly. So I don't know. I don't know which way I'm leaning.
I'm leaning Texans, but I just
Is that
think
your heart or your mind?
no. I think it's both. I think that this will be for me. D'Amico Ryans has
had
to
them both
put.
ready.
He has to make sure that CJ Stroud. He needs to put CJ Stroud in the best position to win. And for me, that means making sure his defense is able to stop the Browns because Amari Cooper went off last time they played. So I feel like if he can control the Browns offensively, that will put CJ Stroud in a better position to not come from behind and not feel like he has to do all this, be Superman and I've got to throw the ball and I've got to do all that. I just feel like it's more of D'Amico Ryans, you have a rookie quarterback going against a very good defense.
Did Stingley play in that first night?
I don't even know if
I don't.
This was a few weeks ago, so I
don't think so.
Well,
I say what?
Well, that's of note. If Stingley didn't play, I mean, given the
Because I
fact
know he was injured for a time.
Given the fact
he
that-
might have
So-
played though, because it was towards the end of the season.
given the
So
fact
I
that
think-
Amari had that type of game,
I think, and then the Denzel Ward thing, it doesn't really move anything for me because he wasn't that great when
Right.
they played.
Yeah.
So whether he's in or not, it's more of can the Texans
can they be efficient?
He wasn't.
he was
Was
right?
he? Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
And, and Amari still.
Yeah,
Good lord.
and they held Davis Mills to 150 passing yards.
Well, see, that's the point. But I do agree with
But it
you.
was Davis Mills. So
Right, it's Davis Mills. It's not CJ Stroud. There's a different caliber quarterback there. But I do agree with you. Texans are going to have to be smart in all 3 phases of this game. I mean, because you're not only you're dealing with a more experienced team, but you're dealing with a team that still has some key weapons defensively that can really flip this game at any given time. So D'Amico Ryans, he is going to have to be smart with this. He may have to kind of sort of play the field position game a little bit and not try to go for the juggler every single time they have the ball. He's going to have to be patient. They're going to have to be efficient as possible because this is they can lose this game on a couple of plays, to be quite honest.
Who do you think is more important to the Texans winning, CJ Stroud or D'Amico Ryans?
D'Amico
CJ.
Ryans.
D'Amico.
That's tough.
I said CJ.
If you can, I feel like if you can, I think that it's easier for.
I will always
Because
say a head coach is more important than the rookie.
That's fair, but given
You gotta make the plays.
Particular D'Amico Ryans is a little more important because he had CJ Stroud. Like I said, he's a rookie. He's a defensive mind, so he needs to be able. If he can, because Joe Flacco has been playing. He has not been a game manager.
But he also been turning the ball over a lot. So there is a window for them to go ahead and go get that. Go ahead.
So he was 27 of 42, 368, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks.
Who?
Flacco.
Right. But can you so from
Basically, my point
And
that
he
I'm-
wasn't set.
well, shit, that's a problem too. My point is the fact that Amari had this amazing game, and Houston did not have their number one quarterback, and they still only lost by 2 scores against a team that was number one defense going in.
So I
Like
think
me personally, I felt like if CJ was on that field in that game, I don't know if they win. They may not win, but I think it does come down to the last possession of the game.
so. I think now, especially seeing the way that they played against the Colts, I think a big issue is he only threw it to 2 guys last game against the Colts, which was Dalton Schultz and Nico Collins. Well, in the last game, they had Noah Brown, they had John Mechie.
Mhm.
Like they don't have those 2 guys.
How much of
Plus, I'm already without Tank Dell.
but how much of that is an issue when Cleveland may be either without their number one corner or their number one corner may be hobbled, and then their top safety is not in.
So I think that would be key is who's there. I think with Cleveland, if Denzel Ward is playing well enough, and they can match up Schultz with Owusu Koromoa, who's been a great linebacker. It's like now you're able to kind of condense the field even more.
Brevin Jordan comes in.
Who y'all think gonna win the game?
No, we'll get to that later.
But yeah,
Is that the end
The end of the show.
the way the Browns win this game is they're able to condense the Texans to where they just don't have a lot of options to go to. And if they have to throw it to options they're not used to throwing it to, or making sure that okay, like these guys got to make certain plays, I think that would be the thing that puts the Browns over the Texans.
I think the question is, do you trust Joe Flacco? That's what it comes down to me. Because if the Browns are putting up points, I don't think they're losing this game. Their defense is good enough to keep teams below 20 points in general. Granted, they have had games where they've been slipping, but I think the Browns at every level have a defensive difference maker. Their issue has been injuries.
Yeah.
I feel like they
They've been
being able to recover
not
from
healthy.
Grant Dale Pitton
Yeah.
situations like that. And I forgot what linebacker they lost earlier this year. They've lost 2 tackles. They've lost starting quarterback. They lost Nick Chubb.
Yeah.
And they've been able to respond. I think it's a matter of if their offense can put up points, I don't think that they should have any
Is
issue.
that not a concern that Flacco threw 2 picks given he was not really pressured in that game?
I definitely think that
because he throws picks in every game. Every game he's played
You
in,
feel it is?
he's throwing picks.
I think in the
But it happens-
playoffs, turnovers matter so much more. And it keeps teams in games.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
the moments you're creating situations that add stress to everybody else on your team. And you don't necessarily know, even though Joe Flacco, if the game is close, going off one drive, Joe Flacco has shown that he can go ahead and handle his business.
Correct.
But if you're putting everybody else in that situation who is unproven, who hasn't been in the playoffs to know what that feels like, to know how they're going to respond in tight moments, I don't think that benefits them in the long run.
I think
That's fair.
Sure, I do think that big picture, the Browns are one of the bigger threats to the Ravens not getting to the Super Bowl.
I think in the bigger picture, I think that would be a thing if they were
If
playing
they
another
win this game.
team, a veteran team in the playoffs, but they're not. They're playing a team that's never been, and most of the players have never been there. And I think that him with Joe Flacco, even if he was to throw 1 or 2 picks, I think the way the Texans are beat up at wide receiver and even a little bit on the offensive line, I think they can hold up to
I think so
that
too.
sort of team rather than a team like the Chiefs or the Dolphins or the Ravens if they had to go up against that.
The Browns match up well against all the teams for real in the AFC because defense travels and they understand their identity of running the football.
Correct.
For one, but Joe Flacco's been able to push the ball down the field. That adds a whole completely different element to what they got going on.
All right, let's talk about the next game, shall we?
What we got?
Shoot, it don't.
Well, the next
I
game
mean,
is-
we could just since we're already on
Dolphins
Saturday,
Chiefs.
we could just
The next game is Dolphins Chiefs?
Yeah.
That's the next game on the schedule.
This is
Below zero?
I would say this is a funky game. Okay.
Yeah.
From the storyline
Yeah.
to the weather. This is just I feel like this is just a weird game. Because you got Tyreek going back to Arrowhead.
Yeah.
You know he's going to be motivated. He's going back to Arrowhead.
Arrowhead.
You got Tua who had a pretty good year. However, the ending to the season wasn't so great. So
Questionable against a good team.
Right. He still needs to kind of sort of redeem himself a little bit. You got the head coaching matchup here with the offensive mindsets of Andy Reid and Mike McDaniel.
Chiefs don't catch the ball.
Chiefs still don't know how to catch the ball yet. And then you throw in the weather. The fact that it could get down to minus 30 wind chill is disgusting. This is a funky game. I don't know how this game is going to end. I'll be quite honest with you. I will say this. I truly wish the Dolphins were healthy in this. It's hard for me to pick them in the game. If they were truly healthy, I would pick
Is
them.
Watt playing?
Don't know.
Don't know. But see, given the fact that there's
Still dealing with his high ankles.
Right.
Him and Mostert.
He's not even if he plays, he's not 100%. Like it's just I want to pick them to go into Arrowhead, but the injuries is just telling me they're not going to be there.
Do you trust Tua more, or do you trust the Chiefs wide receivers more?
Wow.
In the cold.
Oh my
with the
God.
ball being break. That's
I mean,
those are the biggest factors.
Is it possible
for me.
to say I don't trust either
Post-man.
one?
Is that not the right question? What's the right question?
Is it possible to say you don't trust either
Because
one?
that's so what you're really asking me is, do I trust Tua to be successful against the Chiefs defense, or do I trust the Chiefs wide receivers
Do not mess it up.
versus the cold
To catch
to catch the ball?
No, it's going to be a rock. It's not going to be a ball.
Yes, you're right. So that's
I trust
be
the
a
Chiefs wide receivers more.
Yeah, I do trust him.
I think it is easier to trust the Chiefs wide receivers more because
What if you don't trust either one?
I mean,
The one thing that the
you
Chiefs,
don't have
the
to.
one thing that the
Okay,
Chiefs
Which
can
one do
do-
you trust more?
I don't trust.
You don't have to trust either. But is there one that you're like, hey, if I had to bet on,
I'm not going to answer that because I don't
But
trust.
the Chiefs-
Honestly, I don't
the
trust either
Chiefs
one.
don't
So.
have to get it to the receivers. They can get it to the running backs off the screens. They can get it to Kelsey. And the no. But the difference is I mean they you know that they can do it. You know they have the personnel to do it. And at the end of the day, it's one of those things where it's just like, okay, they're going to be like, you trust Pat Mahomes and they'll be like, hey, look, like, you know he's gonna get them into the best situation possible. They just have to not mess it up. And I know that this season we have seen what they have, but I think another thing is that the injuries that the Dolphins have on defense
Everywhere.
makes it easier
A little
for the
easier, yeah.
Chiefs and a lot longer.
Because I haven't seen anything from the Chiefs, even over the past month, for me to say, you know what, I trust them going into. I trust that the skill position guys going into the play.
Their room for error is greater because what the Dolphins are.
Absolutely.
Having
Yes.
them have time. That's what I'm concerned about. Not having either of your starting
I'm not
defensive
gonna.
ends in
we'll
Chubb and
see.
Phillips.
That doesn't
I
mean.
think they have time. So his receivers, in theory, should be open.
In theory.
For sure.
Time.
Is in theory. He's good at making time.
I think.
I mean, you can you're making time because you don't have time. Like you're extending the play because you're being pressured.
Regardless,
So the pressure is still there. The pressure's still there.
It's easier.
But he's still getting pressure.
It's easier for the Chiefs receivers to
Quarterback.
do their job compared to Tua doing his job. That's what it comes down to.
The only good thing about this game and it being cold and the Dolphins playing the Chiefs is Tyreek Hill because he knows he's done that before. He's caught passes when it is negative degrees out. That's the only good thing going on for the Dolphins right now. I do not think I want to say this game isn't going to be close. I just think that because I think of the last time they played. I just think of all the injuries. I really think for me, the psyche of where they were in the beginning of the season to have the Buffalo Bills come back and win the division. Like, I just think that is like,
Got him off that rocker.
I feel like that is like,
That's fair.
It is pretty devastating.
that is super devastating because they were fighting for the number one seed. That Baltimore game messed them up for the rest of the season, in my opinion.
Tennessee.
Tennessee game.
The Titans game.
There's a bad.
They lose that game, but that was the game where Tyree got injured and he wasn't 100% to close out the season. So it really hurt them in a number of facets. Let me ask you guys this. Hypothetically, let's say the Dolphins did have Mostert. Let's say Mostert was 100% because going into a game like this, you probably want to lean on your run game a little bit more. If Mostert was healthy, do we feel any different about the Dolphins' chances?
No, man.
I do feel different if they
Because that has been that has been a productive run game
I'm
this
saying
year.
they play the ball, and not only are they top 5 in rushing, but in the last game against the Chiefs, they averaged 5.6 yards a carry. So it's like, and Mostert had one of his better games. We had 12 carries, 85 yards
without A-Chain.
Without A-Chain.
Right.
So it's like.
So we think A-Chain is the game changer from what we saw last time they played.
No.
Because they have less.
With the combination of Mostert and
A-Chain,
if they were to just run the ball on the Chiefs,
I think it would
especially in
change
this type
things
of
a little.
weather,
Yeah.
it would change it because not only would it take the ball away from the Chiefs' offense.
A-Chain just a weapon.
Right, no, I get it.
But it would just give them better offensively to be able to push the ball down the field.
Yep.
So my question is, from what we saw when they played the Chiefs the last time they played them this season,
which was in Germany.
I guess let's do the whole
21-14.
whatever.
21-14. They started off 21-0. Chiefs didn't score the second half, and they let the Dolphins get right back into it.
Yeah.
Right, and the Chiefs end up winning the game.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the Dolphins are worse than what they were.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, so that's what I'm saying. So that's why for me it's like
The Chiefs have been stagnant. They've been in the same realm
Throughout
So like literally, like we've been talking so bad about the Chiefs, but they still won the division. They still have home advantage. Like they're consistently like bad, but they're still consistently like in a great spot.
I feel like they won by default.
I mean,
So difference as far as what do the Dolphins have to do differently in this matchup, seeing that they have less than what they had then?
Just don't get off to a bad start. That's really what it is. Don't spot the Chiefs 21 points, because if you didn't spot them 21 points before, you could have won that game because you were coming for them in the second half. So don't get off to a slow start.
But that's hard to say given Waddle is not 100%, and he may not even be out there. There's no Mostert. Like it's hard not to get off to a fast
They know how to play Tyreek Hill.
Right. Like
I understand about Mostert, but to me, I don't feel like there's a big drop off with just having A-Chain.
it's a considerable move. This is like,
I don't. They have A-Chain.
they have A-Chain, but A-Chain is not.
They won't have Mostert, but to me, I'm like, I think A-Chain is.
Waddle's not 100%.
Saying now they're missing two of their number two.
Not to mention, you're looking at A-Chain. I see what you're saying, but you're looking at A-Chain at this time of the year and say, hey, tote the rock for me close to 20 times a game, which is something he's not used to doing. And now he's going to have to do it on the road in Arrowhead in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's what you guys do, man.
So we've seen in
not
these
everybody,
games.
not everybody's ready for that. Like I know it's next man up, but if Stephon goes down right now, you ain't looking at Khalil and say, hey, make these plays.
To me, could be a number one on a team. It's not using him.
Games like this,
Stated that we are going to run the football.
Tua's been pedestrian. Whenever we've seen Tua, even just in general against good teams or other good quarterbacks, Tua doesn't win that quarterback battle. Whatever
That's fair.
situation it is, Tua is not the one who outplays other quarterbacks. He is very pedestrian in them games. 200 yards passing, a touchdown or two. It typically doesn't turn the ball over.
Just enough to get by, especially in the Dallas game.
It's enough to get by. It's enough to keep you in the game.
It's going to be freezing, and he's going to have Chris Jones coming after him.
I think
and the other side, Patrick Mahomes, he plays in this weather all the time. Who's coming after him?
Christian Wilkins.
Blitz. Christian Blitz.
I think Wilkins had what, 9 or 10 sacks this year? Wilkins has what, 9 or 10 sacks this year?
He has he should have 10 now. Going into the Bills game, he had about 9.
Wilkins has had
the strip sack on Josh.
He's had a really good year. It's just been covered up because when we look at the Dolphins, all we think is offense. But he's had
9 sacks.
He's had a really good year.
9 sacks.
So he's capable of impacting this game. But I guess to your point, we've seen Chris Jones close out a game by his damn self.
He's going to have to win now.
I haven't seen that from Chris. I haven't seen Christian Wilkins win a game or change the tone of a game by himself. So it's something that he's going to have to do now in the postseason on the road in Arrowhead. Again, I want to pick the Dolphins to win because I'm not a believer in Kansas City this year. I think they're going to falter. I think if they win, they go to the next one. Whoever they play in the next round, which it could be Buffalo, they're probably going to lose.
Okay, not too much.
All right. Well, speaking of Buffalo, great transition. Let's get into it.
All right.
Sunday games. Now we're done with our Saturday hours. Also, I can't stand Peacock. First of all, I also want to say that
Light him up.
as far as the Dolphins Chiefs game, I'm so happy that the Bills game is not on Peacock. I think that the NFL should just do away with Peacock.
That's BS.
They should not re-sign for the simple
Have a
fact
playoff game
Not on
exclusively
cable.
on streaming.
on one streaming is Peacock. Here we go. So I just think that's I don't even think that the locals can watch the game unless they have Peacock.
Unless they're
Exclusively.
If I live in the town, I feel like I should have access. As a local, I absolutely should not need to for my team.
You're not Netflix, you're not Hulu, you're not HBO Max. It's Peacock.
You have Peacock.
No,
Are you gonna find a way to watch it?
Yeah.
I'll figure it out.
no, but
Like going to a restaurant. Not by opening an account with Peacock.
I'm going. I opened up my subscription, and it will close as soon as it's done.
I mean, I've always had Peacock.
Yeah. So that will be it.
I looked at everything
But-
else like, oh man, that sucks. Not gonna be able to watch a playoff game.
So, but anyways,
Loser.
Sunday, 1:00. Steelers at Buffalo. The weather, I was just looking at it.
It's
gonna
gonna
be-
snow.
Snow
Antarctica
showers,
cold.
gusty winds. That's what we're looking
We
at.
used
know
to
why
that.
Antarctica.
Hey, well, look. So I feel like the Bills, Steelers. Y'all should talk about this first because you guys are the most knowledgeable about it.
Knowledgeable is so funny.
So you know.
I mean, look,
Talk your talk,
Is
Cordell.
there
Go
any,
ahead.
is there any,
I think
is there
TJ
any
Watt is
truth
different.
to this game
That's what
possibly
it is.
moving locations?
No.
Okay, all right, cool.
the game ain't moving.
I think the only time
It's two northern teams. This game ain't moving.
that's what I'm saying.
Right.
I mean, we built for it, but we gonna be there.
The only time I remember a game moving was when the Vikings dome had collapsed and they played at the University.
Are you talking about the playoffs? Or are you talking about?
I don't remember if it was regular season or playoffs.
The
but
Bills
I
game got
regular
moved
season.
last year
That was regular.
in the regular season. Bills game got moved into the
Well, that's
to the Lions. Yeah, the snow.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was snow.
right.
Get out
That
the house.
crazy.
they would do that in the playoffs though. I
No,
feel
they
like-
would. If fans can't, first of all, fan safety. They're not gonna ask fans to drive to the stadium and they're not gonna play in an empty
And
stadium.
the crazy thing is, Bills fans gonna drive regardless.
They'll walk.
And
They
they're gonna
love them some
be out
Bills
there shirtless.
jumping on tables.
Yeah, so
All right. I mean, look, I think
It's gonna be interesting.
this game is gonna go one of two ways. It's either gonna be really ugly or the Bills are gonna blow them out. It's one.
It
of
never gave blowouts.
Wait.
two ways.
Okay,
I
you
think
said
right.
really ugly. I thought you meant like the blowout.
No.
I think one of the
Okay, just an ugly like
if y'all
close game.
win the game,
Yes.
it's gonna-
Not a third option.
No,
Ain't no chance for a third option, right?
no. It's either gonna be really ugly.
By really ugly,
Because you're being messy.
who's on the winning outcome of that?
He said the Bills is ugly as in like 6-10.
Yes,
The
ugly.
win-
Chanel was a big fan for those
Ugly?
wins.
If it's ugly, I don't know.
He's saying it's just gonna
I don't know. The blow,
9-6.
but I can see
type thing.
when I say
Oh, 17-13.
I'm saying weather-wise, I'm not saying because of what like ugly. I'm seeing both quarterbacks just giving up the ball.
Well,
That is, it's either that or Josh is on it, and it doesn't matter what the other side is doing.
here's the thing:
And I only say that because TJ Watt's not there. Respectfully.
which team has been more prone to winning ugly this year?
I don't know.
Us.
They
You
both,
don't know.
Steelers.
They both. You guys have been complaining to me about them being ugly wins. I don't know what you want me to tell you.
If you want to say who has the
It's a-
most,
I'm just saying,
yeah,
you know what?
If you want to say the most ugly wins, is definitely.
It's definitely them.
But there's a difference.
But
I feel like y'all have to win ugly. Like the way that y'all's team is built, y'all need y'all's defense to mess things up for the other team in order to keep y'all in the game. When y'all win ugly, it's because Josh is putting y'all in a position
Yes.
where
There's
it's
a
a
greater
close
concern
game for
that
no
y'all
reason.
playing ugly. If y'all playing ugly, there's a greater concern. If Pittsburgh is playing ugly, it's like, well, this is how they've gotten to the playoffs this year anyway.
But for y'all's offense in the last couple weeks, Najee Harris been running the ball. We haven't seen
And we
it
know
all
Buffalo
year.
can't defend that.
Hey, he hasn't been running like
Sorry,
that.
my
100
bad.
yards the
I'm
past
sorry,
2
Cordell.
games.
My question to Eric is: has he been running like he had shorts on or jeans?
I wasn't gonna get into
Sure.
that. I wasn't gonna get into how he was getting his yards, how fast he was getting his
He's
yards.
been getting his
His
yards.
thing,
He's been
his
getting his
thing,
yards.
his thing all
Yes.
year was that Najee looks like he runs like he has jeans on.
Well, I said cargo pants, corduroy pants.
Did he get 1,000 yards this season?
He
He
sure
sure
did.
did. Okay, a
I
Nick Saban
said-
product.
Oh, you better get full circle. Yes, ma'am. I am. Terry got his 1,000 yards. You better, Terry.
See what we're
Yes,
saying?
sir.
See,
What?
Like nobody talk about
all right.
Terry.
Anyways,
Miss Terry from Alabama, but Terry.
Know what it is. Terry McLaurin is the Terry.
I'm not wasting more time talking about him. I'm not wasting more time about him.
First of all, don't be rude.
So-
Terry's a
Okay,
All right, go ahead.
So for me,
Thank you.
I think that
Good shot, Dane.
the way that the weather is plays a big factor in this. And the reason why is because I think that the Bills don't play well in bad weather.
Inclement weather.
So if that's the case, it gives the Steelers a chance. Because if it was just,
It gives
if it was 30 degrees, clear, like I felt it was gonna go like the first matchup last year when it was 38-3. I thought it was gonna be like that. But because it is inclement weather, I do think the Steelers have a chance because they're really good at running the football these past few weeks. And if
better
they're
than
able-
any other.
And if they're able to keep doing that, especially the way they played against the Ravens last week, even though the Ravens had a few defense players out, but they ran the ball well in the rain. They're able to do that in the snow. I think that gives them the best chance to win. So I think right now it's a big toss-up.
I know
because
you
of the
guys want to
inclement
pick
weather.
the Bills. It's fine. I get it.
No,
It's
we're
fine.
we're picking the Bills.
Nobody's making picks right now.
I'm picking.
So pick the Bills.
Damn,
No.
that's sad. You
I'm sorry, bro.
It's all right though, bro. It's all right.
You can't be
To be positive for the
I'm sorry.
She just cursed on your team.
one at a time, please.
Thank you.
I'm not.
It's me.
Look, okay. Just I give the Steelers a good chance to win this game
Yes.
because of the inclement weather and how good they are at running the football and how well their defense has played, even though they don't have TJ Watt.
Right.
I think that they still will play well enough to have a chance.
To make it a game. And I agree.
I think it will be an ugly game, but I think in terms of contrast, I don't think the Steelers care if it's an ugly game or not. As long as they walk off the field victorious, it doesn't matter if it's 31-3 or 3-2. It doesn't matter. The Steelers are a team.
3-2 is cool.
They don't, but they don't care. They don't care.
It's unfortunate
that field goal
because it's going to have to be an ugly game like that.
It's going to right. I think when it comes to the Bills, they want to win a certain way. They want to win a certain way, but I think if they win in an ugly fashion, in large part is due because of turnovers from Josh.
It's gonna have to be.
It's going to have to be right. So basically, what I'm saying is, I will. Oh, but still, like I do think it's going to be an ugly game. I do think it's going to be an ugly game. I would not be surprised, honestly, if Josh has 2 or 3 turnovers in this game.
Isn't that like?
It's almost
like
the
a
norm,
given, right?
Right? It's almost like the norm.
Like he
one
throws the ball over 3 times and can still win.
Yeah, but
I think Cordell will probably mention this, but y'all's offense has thrived when y'all have scoring outputs that are admirable, respectable, whatever the case is.
Right.
Y'all have a big play that happens. Last week you had Deontay Johnson take that 70-yard touchdown pass. 2 weeks before, George Pickens was going stupid. Like when y'all beat the Ravens, y'all had the big play to George Pickens at the end of the game. Like I feel like y'all need either a turnover touchdown from y'all's defense or a turnover to put y'all in the red zone, or y'all need y'all's offense to just have a big play where somebody on the outside is making that play. It's tough to depend. Like y'all's running game has been good. And if the Bills are messing up and Josh isn't doing what he needs to do, that will control the game and the tempo and everything of that nature. And y'all can win a close game like that.
You're trying to. You don't have to sell me.
I was telling you what you need to happen.
My thing is, I think the absence
Increase the
of
chances you win.
I think the absence of TJ catches up to Pittsburgh. I think it's an ugly game. They somehow stick in it and stay the course. But I think eventually not having his elite pass rushing skills on the field, I think it catches up to him.
And even the way that y'all been using James Cook over the last couple of weeks.
I was gonna say, I was like,
Cordell's so over it.
I was just like, keep on talking about running the ball, and I'm like, James Cook is leading the league, 4th leading rusher in the league.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, they got the top 6 run offense. They got a top 10 run defense.
Doing the postseason.
Well, shoot, we just got here. Can you?
We're doing the postseason. I already told you. I told you. I said you coming to
statement.
Yes,
with what Cordell said, even though I love my Steelers dearly, and I'm obviously going to pick them because I'm not a traitor, but I do think that
people learn from you.
But I do.
The hell that mean?
I do think
that means
that
you're a fake fan.
All right, hey, you took him out.
That's it.
I do think that it is going to go one or two ways because I know my team. And
can y'all?
Can I finish my statement?
I stopped. I'm here. Go ahead.
I do think that if it's gonna.
I'm sorry.
I do think that it's either going to be ugly. It's going to be ugly regardless.
You think so?
So whether it's ugly as far as the game is low scoring, or it's ugly as in the Steelers are going to get blown out. I do think that it's either one or it's going to go one or two ways. For me, I personally TJ Watt not being there is super, super big, but at the same time, Alex Highsmith has not been who he was when TJ Watt was not playing. When we have those numbers that's saying the Steelers are 1-10, Alex Highsmith has he's come into his own this season. And I think that he's able to to make up for TJ Watt's absence a little bit more than we've seen in the past. But TJ Watt not being there is huge. Number 2, I think running the ball is going to be super big because for whatever reason, the past few weeks, we've been running the ball tremendously, and it's been working. And Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren have kind of clicked, and whatever they've done in the offense, it's worked. But at the same time, as far as the Bills, I think that if Josh Allen comes in making the mistakes that he has made last week with the Dolphins, I think that is what will change the game a little bit as far as I think that we will, because we know that we won't have as many opportunities.
Y'all's formula.
Every opportunity that Josh Allen gives us, we're going to take. So if Josh Allen takes care of the ball, this will not be a game. And I think that's all it is. If Josh Allen does not play Superman, and it's crazy because he doesn't have to, especially this team, he's playing the Steelers, he has James Cook. You don't have to. You can literally make good decisions, and if it's not there, you can throw it away. I just have a question. Why can't he just throw the ball away? What is his issue with just the play is dead?
Or even just dump it down. There are options.
I need to know what play you're talking
about. No, I'm just saying, when I watch him, he goes through his reads, and then he has his own read. He's listen, read 5 is not there, but I feel like I can make this a thing. But it's just not there.
Remember when we pointed that out in the preseason when the Bills played the Steelers in the preseason? He had that one interception where he's literally on the sideline, bro, there's nothing there.
It's nothing.
Just throw it out of bounds. He's trying to force plays.
So I will say of the folks that I've seen where it's kind of like that, I think he's I'm gonna throw it up to my guy. If they don't get it, then it's basically like a punt. And he does do that sometimes where it's just
every interception is like that.
Everyone, but I'm saying there have been some where it is like that where
on third down or fourth down where he does that.
It's 3 or 4.
He did.
That's weak.
He doesn't absolve
the first interception.
Second
interception, I was like, who are you throwing to? This is Eli Stanton.
The second one, it was 4th and 2, and he was running, and dude was coming, so he just chucked it all the way down.
It's halftime. Like I'm gonna throw it because there's no more time left. And that's fine if that's what it is. But babes, it's 10 minutes.
It was like I didn't have an issue with his second interception. His first one, I don't know why him and Gabe always end up in these situations.
He's so sick of it.
I don't.
Gabe been debating his
ready for Gabe to get off the team.
Look, bro, you don't even understand. Me and my dad had a conversation yesterday, and I was like, "Yeah,
Gabe though."
I was like, "Gabe's not playing in this game." And he's like, "Oh, I know you happy." I said, "Hey, look, we don't wish injury on nobody, but
however,
Wow.
I am happy to see what Shakir can do and see him get more targets and Kincaid get more targets.
And Trent Sherfield
keep it moving. Well, Trent Sherfield will probably just be like a blocking wide receiver because that's what Gabe did before.
Patrick will be playing.
Oh, Mika play?
He's short. Say 2 or more turnovers, Pittsburgh wins this game. That is my.
I think it's 3. 3 turnovers total for Logan.
Bro,
Minka lost
with the Dolphins against.
But you're not gonna do not too much on my safety though.
I'm just saying. Okay.
He just painted a picture.
He's a game changer.
It was the same thing as Jalen Ramsey.
I've also seen.
No, but
it's different.
No,
I've seen Mika close out games for Pittsburgh.
And not only there's a difference, like when there's death, there's life. So like TJ Watt, no, for me.
Say it one more time.
With every death comes life.
He said somebody died, somebody pregnant.
No, I think that as far as the defense, like our secondary has been garbage. And I feel like Minka, just his presence changes everything about the secondary. Like, so I feel like I would have rather, if I come into this game and people might think I'm lying, if you tell me I have to choose between Minka or TJ Watt for this game, I might choose Minka just because even if it's TJ Watt running towards Josh Allen, he's going to be good regardless. Like I feel like Josh Allen it's not going to do him any differently because we know how Josh Allen is versus pressure for me. So I think that Minka makes a bigger, he's just bigger in this game for me. And I might just be saying that because he's actually available.
I agree with you.
It's just what I think because my secondary is garbage.
The confidence of your team
can handle it, but Jordan Pope is going to be in hell.
So y'all have to get after the Packers because of scheme and the position y'all put people in.
It took him a while.
Oh, we.
You're about to piss. He's cost me a couple parlays.
He's salty for me.
He's cost me a number of parlays the last month or so. Okay, so this. I'm here throwing touchdowns to Trent Sherfield. What is this?
So who y'all got in this game?
Game for picks.
Because this is not your job.
Picks up.
And I'm going to keep going until we get to all the.
Nick Saban was about.
Well, we're gonna see how well it goes.
Oh boy!
Here we go. New computer. Here we go.
Wing it, huh?
All right. So my last statement on this, first of all,
I wish I could watch this game with you,
Cordell. I'm so sorry. You can.
She's gonna be in seclusion.
Wait, can I tell you guys about my dream? I'm so sorry. I know we're over time. Go ahead. It's all good. Really quick, I had a dream last night, and I don't know if it's gonna come true, but I just believe that I'm God's favorite, and He's just gonna do this for me.
No,
I'm not getting to.
No,
it's not a
the same thing. No. Oh, not the Ravens thing.
Last night.
Okay.
I had a dream.
Okay.
That. No. I had a dream that the Ravens. Wow. I had a dream that the Bills and the Steelers played, and we put up video game numbers. Like when I tell you video game numbers, I should have known. I should have known it was a dream.
Yeah.
But
500 yards and
no, it was crazy.
38 points.
But isn't that crazy? Like that was a dream. So I just believe that we're gonna win this game. Like that's what God was telling me.
You know what?
No, seriously.
It really stems on you being God's favorite. That's what this comes back to. That's what.
And if it doesn't happen, please nobody text me seriously because I'm gonna talk about everybody in your family if y'all text me after if we lose.
Appreciate your accountability.
That's a bit much.
Luckily, he don't.
It'll be like that. I understand. It'll be that.
Being polite, obviously.
Hell, if my
Feel like
team
you guys,
I would be.
Courtney, like you guys played really, really good, Chanel. Like, you know, and you're gonna go to hell.
Okay. So yeah, no problem. So on my end, I think that the playoffs, not just for this game, but just in general when it comes to the Bills, I think that because Joe Brady took over halfway through the season, he's been slowly working and evolving the playbook the way that he wants it to be evolved. Because obviously he didn't have all of the offseason to say, hey, this is how I went throughout the season for things to evolve. So first, he got the running backs a lot more involved in the passing game and the running game, got the ball more to the tight ends. Now teams are starting to actually game plan for Cook coming out of the backfield, which is opening up things now that I'm seeing for Diggs across the middle. So hold on. So to me, that's why when I was on here before, I said I don't care where the production is coming from as long as the production is there.
I do.
Because if other people are starting to show that you can't just stop Diggs and our production is going to just die off, then you're going to have to start taking off a little bit off of Diggs, and then he can actually start doing things again. So in this game, that's what I'm hoping to see is that, all of a sudden James Cook does a clear out and somebody has to go with him, which now means that somebody else can come across the middle. Like I'm looking for small things like that, intricate pieces to the game to hopefully help them. I also hope that they do not do the stereotypical thing that everybody's saying, which is they should just be run heavy. Because I'm like, you got a big armed quarterback to play in this weather.
That's going to talk about.
So I want him to throw the ball a bit. I want at least 25 to 30 attempts from Josh Allen in this game.
Just giving 2 interceptions.
25 to 30. And if he has 2 interceptions and 3 tutties, I'm okay. I
don't know how you live like that every week, man.
If that's the case, so be it. But what I don't want is the ball out of my best player's hands.
I literally get to a point where I'm like, stop turning the damn ball over. Can you have one clean game? Like it's a weekly thing for him. I'm like, bro, this is ridiculous. They should have blown out Miami.
They should have.
But they didn't because we had 2 picks on the first 2 drives of the game.
Well, man, Miami had a pick on that one.
Still, it doesn't matter. They should have went up 14-0. Regardless of what Miami did, they should have went up 14-0, but they didn't.
It's okay. It's okay.
So they still won the game.
It's okay.
You play to win the game.
What did they need to get back into the game? They need a punt return touchdown to get back. Like, do you think they still would have won that game if they didn't have that punt return TD?
Nah.
I don't know.
Come on.
That's a huge if.
That's a huge if.
Momentum wasn't on your side.
It was not on their side.
Downfield to score in order.
Why? They were moving the ball all game.
But then something always happened.
So, but it doesn't mean something's going to happen on that one. In the second half, Josh played really good.
Yeah.
First half, no. In the second half, he played really good. So, I'm going to give that to Wilkins. Hell of a play. Hell of a strip. Hell of a play.
Just gonna hold on to it.
Right, yeah, that's all you're gonna do. You're gonna hold on to it. Another 3 turnover game. Just hit.
All right, let's move on to other teams, shall we? Lord. 2 teams, I guess they're pretty clean. I guess Packers and Cowboys.
Clean.
I mean, Jordan Love doesn't throw a lot of interceptions.
That could.
And he's been doing it without Christian Watson or Luke Musgrave.
It's the postseason, so
Starting tight ends.
I think this game will be decided on which defense plays better because I think the offenses have both come in playing well. So it's whatever defense plays better, and I think Dallas' defense is better than the Packers. So
that is true. And then when you add on the fact that Jair he was actually hurt today in practice, had his ankle rolled up on. So,
CD about it.
So yeah,
somebody gonna be hurt.
That was
100%.
Yeah, that was what it was going to be.
Yeah.
I
know Jordan Love has played well, but I think they're running into a buzzsaw at this point.
But to be honest though, if the Packers are able to run the ball well like they have the past 2 weeks,
that's all I was about to say.
That will definitely offset whatever Dallas got going.
Aaron Jones been cooking.
So
You can see
I'll
his
give it
impact on their
I'll
offense,
give it that.
especially when their offensive line hasn't been as dominant as it has in recent years. Having a back like Aaron Jones, who is a dual threat, he's made a difference since coming back from injury for their offense, despite not having a Christian Watson or a Luke Musgrave.
Yes. Yeah.
So they're gonna need to make sure it. I mean, with any playoff game, the formula controlling the tempo with the running game and your defense getting stops. That's the main things that can impact you winning in the playoffs. So if they are able to get Aaron Jones going and keep the running game going the way that Jordan Love has been playing, they can absolutely go ahead and win this game.
I think Dallas defense is going to play fairly well in this one. We'll see what happens in run defense, but all eyes to me is going to be on how that offense, how they orchestrate. Dak has to play clean, find that connection with him and CD, which has been well because I think CD has scored a touchdown in 9 straight games or something like
stupid.
that. And if they're able to find some type of life in their running game behind Tony Pollard, then I think Dallas is definitely going to put this one away pretty early and on to the next round.
Yeah, I think for me, as far as the Packers, I think that like Jordan Love can't start as slow as he always starts, because if that's the case, then this is not going to be a game. I also think on the other side, if the Cowboys want to make it to the Super Bowl, and that means beating the Niners, they have to find some type of run game. Because like you're not going to make it to the Super Bowl, you're not going to beat the Niners if you don't have a run game. Obviously, like the Cowboys are the better team, but I think that I don't know, Mike McCarthy reunion, like maybe the Packers try to make a statement, but I think it all falls under like if Dak can, show us that he can be a playoff quarterback, and if their defense can kind of like stop the run and like handle business. It shouldn't be close.
9 straight games for CD.
9. Yep.
For a touchdown. One of them was a rushing touchdown, but 9 straight games with a touchdown. What you gotta say, host man? What you thinking?
Does everybody say everything?
Cordell hates us.
We're all good?
Say.
Oh, no, I'm moving on. Rams. Rams at Lions.
This is a Matt Stafford revenge game. For all of the turmoil that the Lions, it could be. I'm Matt Stafford revenge game.
It's true.
The amount of trouble the Lions as an organization put him through.
Right.
He put him through. They put him through the worst.
Hold on.
Hold on.
But Golf got thrown away.
He did get thrown away.
Stafford winless season with this team. Okay, he had to go through that
To be talented and wasted. Thrown away versus wasted.
It's because they had the winless season.
Their 0-16 season.
They got him because of that. That's why he was the number 1 pick.
I thought he was number pick because they were just bad.
They went 0-16.
Regardless. Anyway, he's had so many losing seasons in Detroit. Fine, let me change
They don't also with the winless.
Oh, wow. Not Dano. Oh, man.
Don't talk about Dano.
Dano
Who's covering Puka and Cooper?
That's a great question.
That's my question.
Who's covering Amon-Ra and Sam?
Great question.
I don't care about that. Like those, they find that matchups, but I think the bigger X factor is the fact that like Koopa and
CJ Gardner-Johnson, what's his deal? Yeah,
he is back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, we'll see how he fares against Cooper Cup.
I think he'll be fine.
I like Gardner-Johnson against Cooper Cup.
I think he'll be fine. I think. Let me tell you, Aiden Hutchinson is not going to get that far.
Cooper Cup.
Aiden Hutchinson is going to have a crazy game.
He could.
It's not going to get as far as figuring out what's going on with Cooper Cup and Puka. Like I really feel like up front, I feel like up front is gonna like handle it for the secondary.
Makes life easier.
Yeah, I think this is the revenge game for Jared Goff.
Is this
you threw me away?
Is this a shootout?
You said I wasn't good enough, and you got Matt Stafford.
Is this a shootout?
He wasn't.
Maybe not a
shootout. No, and the reason why I think so is because when Kyron Williams, the Rams running back, runs for 70 yards or less, the Rams are 1-3.
the Lions are number 2 in rush defense.
Come on, research.
So at this point, I'm thinking, well, if they have to make the Rams throw the football, they don't do well.
But is it one of
They
those
don't win
things?
games.
Is it one of those things where you're number 2 because your pass defense is food?
It's also crazy
And teams
because
don't run the ball on you?
that was the same situation with Jared Goff. When they weren't able to get the play action going, Jared Goff was much
Because
worse.
I
When
think
Todd Gurley wasn't going.
I think about it back when Rams against Eagles and how we thought that, like Eagles defense is food. They're gonna throw it all around the yard and they'll be straight. Well, they couldn't throw it. I mean, they couldn't run it, and then it ended up affecting their pass game because the Eagles are like, we know what you're doing. And it got to a point where when Matthew Stafford had to throw 40, 50 times, they ended up only scoring 14 points. So I think that's kind of what the Lions' game plan will be.
Well, that makes sense. Yeah, the Lions are number 2 in rushing because they're 27th in pass defense.
I mean, yeah, they suck at the pass. Everybody knows
But that it's one of those things where it's like, you're great at this because teams don't attack it because you're giving them big plays in the passing game.
But they are good at run defense because even if you want to say that, okay, like teams pass it, but it's like they pass it because they're mostly in positions where they need to pass.
They're 30th in yards per pass allowed.
Yeah, they're not good. But they also haven't had Gardner Johnson.
So again, why? Okay. All right.
But the thing is, the Rams start off with running the football.
And they've done it well.
But they don't have to. They can resort to just saying Stafford win this for us, and they could if they wanted to. They can spread this thing out and say, "Yo, Stafford's gonna do his thing."
I feel like
if
in
they wanted
games
to.
this year, that hasn't been the case this year.
But
what you mean?
I feel like
you remember the Saints game?
I think that's the one. Like I think in all the other games when they've had to go ahead and throw the ball, they've fallen short.
Like
the Ravens
like
game,
Cleveland, like the Cleveland game.
Ravens game, Matthew Stafford had a great game. They lost in overtime.
Exactly. The Cleveland game too.
Cleveland
picked
game,
that defensive part.
He sure did. 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. You're absolutely right.
All right, well,
the Cardinals but if we talk about the games before that, the Cowboys, they lost by 23. The Steelers, they lost by 7. Matthew Stafford, touchdown and a pick, very pedestrian game. 162 versus the Cowboys. 231 versus the Steelers. And they lost both of those games. They lost the Eagles too, lost the Bengals before that, before they was good. I don't know. Like
I also think some games aren't like stats are great and numbers are great, but I also feel like this reminds me of when we were talking about the Jags Titans game, and we were talking Vrabel and what he said to the team and all that stuff. Yeah. I feel like this game, it's like more of Dan Campbell and him wanting to do it for Jared Goff. Not obviously it's a playoff game, but just very like, listen, this is a game, like your quarterback, like they didn't want your quarterback. And I feel like it's more, I feel like emotions are going to run this game a little bit. Like exactly. I feel like it's a little bit more personal, and the Lions are just a better team. So I feel like they're just going to come out better. They're at home. They're in the playoffs. They feel like they were robbed. The Cowboys game, they've got Dan Campbell. Like, I just feel like this game is a little bit more personal for them.
I feel like McVay can definitely get in Stafford's ear and make this thing a personal game too, as well. Like, this is your.
Because of the fact that Matthew Stafford went to the Rams and won a Super Bowl.
It don't mean as much.
For him, the trade was great. For Jared Goff, the trade was like, damn, what am I going to do with my career? But he was able to revitalize it in a place where nobody thought he could.
It's different.
So
McVay can do it, but I just don't think he's as like hyped up for this game like Dan Campbell.
Given the fact that they were picked to win 3rd in their division, they ended up winning 10 games, got a wild card game, and then they somehow landed on the road against a team.
Yeah, the journey's that sounds great, but I'm saying like everything is in front of the Lions. Like it's literally a team that didn't want you. We literally just got like as far as we should have the number 2 seed. Like it's a lot of stuff. You're saying I get it, but it's very like, oh, we said that we were gonna be number 3.
You're talking about. See, here's the difference. You're talking about what the national media is saying.
Right.
You're saying the national media is saying that you're projected to do this. That ain't got nothing to do with the Lions. Didn't say that about you.
Yeah, but we all had high expectations for the Lions.
But what did the Rams say about Jared Goff?
Right,
not it.
Right. The Rams literally said
People were saying Jared Goff was not it during the season when he had that month stretch where he was turning the football over.
you're talking about people.
I'm just saying
You're
it's more
saying the
personal
team.
for the Lions than it is the Rams.
So
It
we're not.
is.
You
I agree
left
with that.
me. You
I
left
think
me
that
for
the Rams
dead.
gonna show up.
Or you thought you
You
left.
think they're going to what?
I think the Rams are going to be the ones that show up. I feel as though the
Right,
pieces
so
having the championship pedigree, having Aaron Donald on the other side,
Why not give the Rams
having
a chance
weapons
at all?
that are more. No, I'm not saying.
Like it's more on the Lions side,
There's,
motivation wise.
I agree with that. I
Motivation
think
will
there's
win
a bigger chip on the Lions than the Rams.
First time you win the division
Motivation don't win games.
Yes, it does.
in the 90s.
Yes, it does. Don't switch it.
Because it's same
Too bad.
You
You can
said
both agree. I'm just saying, like I feel like this game motivation matters.
you said motivation doesn't win games. I said yes, it can. Then you said
It
not
doesn't-
say all the time.
So we should expect Tyreek to have the game of his life.
Underdogs in general. You have several situations where we see a team. Okay,
The Rams
this
are
team
being
matches
underdogs
better. This team has more talent on paper. They have the coach. They have the quarterback. Whatever the case is, and we see teams when you line it up when you are. Somebody looking at them like, all right, it's time to go. You see that the motivation and emotion, or just showing up on that particular day, wanting to win the game more. We've seen that matter in certain situations.
Boy,
We know that it's like. And you can feel it when you watch
I
the
don't think
game.
me. I think that this is like looking at their fearless leader, which is Dan Campbell, and he can hype players up and like make games mean a lot more. I just think that it means a little bit more for the Lions because of the history. As far as we get it, they are the number one in their division and all that. But as far as like they're coming to Jared Goff's house now. They didn't want you. They won a Super Bowl without you. Like they're better off without you. Like I feel like as a team, like Dan Campbell can like hype his team up. I don't think Sean McVay is doing that because like if you look at the media, we're talking about this Lions Rams game like it's going to be so close and so good. So I don't honestly, I understand what Sean McVay would be saying a lot. You see them, they're saying that this game would be.
I get the sense that the Lions are about to walk all over.
I don't say that. The
I think it's the better
Lions.
team. I think the Lions are the better team, but I think the Rams are capable of making this
Nobody
a very
said that.
interesting match.
Nobody said that.
I think the Rams.
All right. So with that being said, great talking.
Ugh.
Thanks, Cordell.
Also, the Rams and the Lions have like the same.
All right. So this is gonna be part of our picks right here, since I know you've been anxious to get into picks over there. I want to know which wild card team you are picking this week to win. Which wild card team?
Just one.
I already know mine.
Like the most likely or the biggest upset movie? Yeah.
Well, I don't know if If the Browns win, I don't know if that's an upset. So
No,
again,
but it's a wild. I mean,
that's why, so I'm saying, which wild card team do you think is going to win this week? It could be. You could say the Browns. You could say the Rams. You could say the Dolphins.
you could say the Bucs.
It's more of a like which one is a sure bet for us that's going to win this week?
Are we talking you betting on? Which one do you believe out of all of them has the best? Do you think I'm going to put my money on this? If any of the teams,
Okay,
I'm
that's a
choosing.
better. Yeah, you framed it a little bit better.
So who want to
Which
go
one?
first? Yes,
The Bucks.
They're not wild card.
they have the wild card.
They are, but we're not talking about them until Monday.
So wait, are you
They
talking?
won.
Everybody always
division
think they're only
winner.
Browns.
Well, the question is,
Wait, you said which wild card team? Not
They're all in the wild card.
Yeah, I get it. I get what he's saying.
Yeah, I don't like what you framed it.
yeah, I don't think
6 or 7 teams.
Non-division winner.
that's bad.
You're not division winner. What are you?
Wild card.
You're a wild card
You're
team.
playing in the wild card.
You're just playing in the wild card game.
Weekend. So, who are you choosing? The 5, 6, or 7? Which 5, 6, or 7 team
Okay.
do you think are you betting on?
Browns. Mm.
And obviously, I'm going to say Steelers.
I would say Slick. I would say the Dolphins.
So the-
I think that Tyreek or H.N. gets a big play. That's what I'm thinking. That's what's
Wow.
going to need to happen. But I think that speed is different in the cold. I think that it'll impact the other players more than it'll impact the Dolphins and the speed that they are working with. I think that the Dolphins have the best chance of the wild card teams to win.
I'll say the Browns.
2 Browns, and you're going Steelers?
obviously, I would go Steelers. But if I didn't say Steelers, I would honestly, injuries and all, I would say Eagles. I'm not jumping off that ship yet.
What about you? You got a pick?
When I think an injured Eagles can beat this Bucks team.
I think so too.
Not with him.
I think so.
I don't love this.
I am
Speaking of the Bucks, why they up 43 right now? midway
On
through the
these
third
Bucks.
quarter? That's crazy.
Because they have a 25-0 run.
Oh man. Sorry, go ahead.
That'll do it to you.
That's
I'm
crazy.
cheering for the Dolphins wholeheartedly.
Mm.
Man, I don't think we'll ever hit that
He'd
again.
rather play
Mm-mm.
No, if the Dolphins win and we win, they go to Baltimore.
Yeah.
I take on whoever plays the Texans and Browns. That's why I'm cheering wholeheartedly. Because if they lose and we win, then we got to see the Chiefs. I'd rather not.
You rather see the Browns?
Which I'm picking you guys against.
I would rather see the Browns or Texans than see the Chiefs. It's just
A good
It's that
defense.
aura.
I would not
I just
pick you
don't like the
against a
aura.
good defense.
Do the Chiefs still have their aura?
it don't even matter. Don't want nothing to do with it. I don't want to hear the talks throughout the week.
Mm,
I don't want to hear like
that's fair.
the history between those two teams. I just no thank
Who was
you.
it? Rams, Eagles, and
So I'm cheering for them, but I am picking the Chiefs to win, but I am cheering and hoping that the Dolphins prove me wrong and that they can win this game.
So then that's not.
But no, it's not my pick. I'm just putting that out. I was just letting you guys know. I'm gonna go with the Packers.
Your lips to God's ears.
that's different.
I'm gonna go with the Packers. I'm gonna say Jordan Love gets his which is kind of crazy because I chose the Cowboys to go to the Super Bowl. But that is
It's crazy.
that is crazy. I'm going against my Super Bowl pick.
Does that get McCarthy fired?
Yes.
Yeah. And then
When people are talking about Bill Belichick, I think the Cowboys were the team that they were referencing if they lose this game.
Apparently, the Eagles are in that conversation as well.
if they lose to
Apparently
the Bucs.
If the Eagles lose,
Sirianni could be.
they're stupid. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
But it's a
I ain't
thing.
saying that. We just letting you
It's
know
a thing.
what the
So
talk.
dumb.
It's a thing.
But why
No,
is it a thing? Why?
It shouldn't be a thing.
You
but
are
it
really
is.
dumb.
That's so dumb.
I'm just looking at it and I'm like, could the Cowboys collapse in this
Both the
game?
coordinators.
And that
And just want to put it past.
It's only hard
I
for me
think
to
they impacted
believe
them.
because it's at home and they've done so well at
Do
home.
a Nick
But
Sirianni.
I get
I'm
it
going off
because
their
it's
playoff.
So,
It's
maybe
just
they
based
have
off their
one.
playoff. Yeah. So that's why I'm gonna go with that. But all right, now let's go ahead real quick down the board. You said Browns. You said Browns. So you're going Texans?
no.
He said
No, he said Dolphins.
No.
Like, between Texans and
Texans and Browns.
I also have the Browns.
You have the Browns.
Texans.
I'm taking the Texans as well in this game. Chiefs.
Chiefs.
Dolphins.
Chiefs.
All
I
right.
don't want to pick them. I swear. they raggedy.
Not too much on this
All right.
one.
The ball's raised so high. To see them like this, you want to have the confidence.
You do. I do. Like, it's just.
It's
Bills.
different.
Bills, Steelers.
Bills.
Hold on. He took a deep breath. Hold on. Bills.
This is tough. Bills.
Bills.
Steelers. Like, okay.
All right.
Man, you better
I'm sorry.
hold it down.
Packers.
Cowboys.
Do it. Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy.
The Packers gonna get it done. Come on, Aaron Jones. This is your day.
He's gonna watch this. Cowboys.
Cowboy, your feelings gonna be hurt.
All right.
I really hope not.
I'm hold on.
Rams, Lions.
Okay. Shoot.
Oh, you're trying to figure out your pick.
Yeah.
It's like Rams, Lions.
I'm gonna go. All right. Lions.
You go. Just go ahead.
He's prideful, so he went so hard on the Rams that he has to say Rams.
You got to. Just go ahead and pick it.
He doesn't believe it.
Don't throw that dog.
Yeah, man. Spoke all that, bro.
Okay, talk to him, Marcus.
No, I hate this man.
Taking the line.
I'm the
Definitely
I'm switching.
Rams.
I'm gonna take the Rams.
Well, you bound to pick her.
I'm gonna take the
Lions.
Well, yo, shit, so what?
Sure for you though, Alvarado.
I'll take the Rams.
Fight on.
Well, that's gonna do it.
Bucks and Eagles.
Monday.
We gotta wait till Monday. But I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm taking the Bucks.
Okay, you since your name, give us your full analysis and who you're picking.
No, just Eagles. Like I just
I'm taking
think
the Bucks.
that her is gonna. They can be. Oh, look at baby. They can be a Bucks team. I don't know. It's not that hard. I just really.
Okay.
I don't have any numbers
The thing with me is hold on, but I just want to make this point. It's just not only are the Eagles playing bad, but they have so many injuries at key spots.
They do really.
makes
We don't
it
know
really
AJ
tough.
Brown.
Right.
We don't
That's
know.
the thing.
Devontae Smith said he's good to go,
Right.
but we don't
And
know.
then
Jalen Hurts.
Jay didn't even throw a damn ball. He hasn't thrown a pass since Sunday.
I think they can beat the Bucks though. I do.
The pass thing is okay. You don't have to throw the ball.
I think what the whole
your
like
finger out of
Giants, but it was a division game. The Giants were going to do that regardless to ruin.
They were going to go up 24-0 in the first half regardless. Like, I mean.
No, I'm just saying, like, you can't. Division games are always tough. You can never. Division opponents play each other crazy. So it could be a really bad team, but if they play somebody in the division, you never know how it's going to end up. That's what happened with the Saints and the Bucks. Like Saints and the Bucks. Like it just is what it is.
Patriots,
but I think
Bills,
I don't.
Falcons, Panthers,
The Bucks do not beat the Eagles. Like no, Jalen Hurts will play.
Commanders.
They'll be fine.
The Bucks do beat the Celtics.
All right. Good stuff.
90 to 50.
So, as usual, thank you all for watching Outspoken. Say what you mean what you say. If you watch to the end or to the middle, wherever you got to, please just like, subscribe, share with everybody. Until next time, which will be Monday for Monday Night Football for the Eagles at Bucks, as previously said. Until then, I'm Cordell.
Marcus.
D-Rock.
Dose.
Chanel.
Our special guest Chanel.
What I do?
And he said he don't cut me off, right? Right?
Good.
And it's goodbye.
You're so